The second reading is called The Cry of the Realist, and it's excerpted from the book of Ecclesiastes. Vanity of vanities, says the teacher. Vanity of vanities, all is vanity. What do people gain from all the toil at which they toil under the sun? A generation goes and a generation comes, but the earth remains forever. The sun still rises, and the sun goes down and hurries to the place where it rises. The wind blows to the south and goes around to the north. Round and round goes the wind, and on its circuit the wind returns. All streams run to the sea, but the sea is not full. To the place where the streams flow, there they continue to flow. All things are wearisome, more than one can express. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, or the ear filled with hearing. What has been is what will be, and what has been done is what will be done. There is nothing new under the sun. Go, eat your bread with enjoyment, and drink your wine with a merry heart. For God has long ago approved what you do. Even those who live many years should rejoice in them all.
And now let us rise again in body or spirit and sing number 211. We are climbing Jacob's ladder. To go and celebrate a momentous occasion in your life. But that was what we were required to do. It was last Sunday, and I graduated from seminary. I drove with my parents the 30 minutes to school with the First Unitarian Church of Chicago right across the street where the event was to take place. We parked the car, we kissed goodbye, and we parted ways so that I could join my classmates for the processional into the church and down the aisle a little while later. I donned my black robe and I anxiously stood in line with my friends as we sang songs to pass the time. And then the moment came for us to cross the street, and we walked 2 by 2 across the crosswalk as professors were stopping traffic in the rain. And we crossed the threshold of the church and proceeded down the aisle to the singing of Rank by Rank, a very common Unitarian Universalist processional hymn. And after much pomp and circumstance, I was awarded my hood, indicating that I had earned my Master of Divinity degree. And when the ceremony was over, there was cheering and toasting and much picture taking, and then it was over. They call it commencement. That's a funny word for graduating, for finishing, for ending something big in your life. But that's what they call it, commencement. The word means beginning. All the steps that had taken me from student to graduate, they all added up to this, another beginning. It makes me a little dizzy to remember all of the beginnings, and school is the clearest example. In elementary school, I remember feeling so cool when I made it to 5th grade. I was the highest grade in the campus, and we were clearly the big kids on campus, despite the fact that I was shorter than everybody else. We celebrated the end of that school year with a big party, including a 1950s themed sock hop. And then came 6th grade, the beginning of middle school, and once again, we were the low men on the totem pole. But a couple years later, in 8th grade, it provided us another opportunity for reigning the school, only to be knocked back down again to beginner status with the start of 9th grade, the start of high school. Senior high school graduation is one of those moments of true accomplishment. We did it. We completed our state-mandated 12 years of education. We received our diplomas, we threw our hats in the air, and then we started new jobs or college. We were brand new all over again. They call it commencement. It's an ending and a beginning, all wrapped up into one. Today marks my final worship service among you. It has been my honor and my pleasure to serve this year as your student minister. I have enjoyed learning among you. Despite your repeated attempts to deny my student status, you have been my teachers this year, helping me to grow in my ministry as I observe how a lay-led congregation is run. My time here with you has come to an end, but it is yet another beginning for both of us. My professional ministry will continue on August 1st as I accept a position as an assistant minister at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Annapolis, Maryland. And soon after that date, you all will welcome your new student minister, Ian Riddell, to your pulpit. Ian is a friend and a classmate of mine. He is a gifted minister, he's a talented musician, and he's a very kind person. I hope you will continue to teach him as you have taught me and the many student ministers who came before me. But Ian will be the last of the residential students from Meadville Lombard Theological Student School who can serve in this capacity for Open Circle. Meadville Lombard is shifting to a distance learning educational model, and there will be no more residential students to serve you as they have before. The end of this student ministry program in its current iteration is coming to an end for you, and a new beginning must be sought as you contemplate the future of your professional ministerial leadership. They call it commencement. It's an ending and a beginning, all wrapped up into one. They say the only things that we can be sure of are death and taxes. But Heraclitus of Ephesus said it a little better. Change alone is unchanging. The same road goes both up and down. The beginning of a circle is also its end. The author of Ecclesiastes also noted that change is the only constant. Interestingly, this reading from the Bible that we heard earlier is listed in the back of your hymnal under humanist readings. Because the author takes a very rational and realistic approach as opposed to a supernaturally inspired approach to the problem of change. He says, the wind blows to the south and it goes around to the north, round and round goes the wind, and on the circuits the wind returns. What has been is what will be, and what has been done will be done. There is nothing new under the sun. It seems almost as if the author of Ecclesiastes has despaired. The sun is always coming up and going down. The wind is always blowing. The change is always there. The cycles repeat themselves over and over. The generations follow one another. Despite all the change, it's just constant. There is nothing new under the sun. And yet, in the end, he does not despair. With a keen sense of realism, he acknowledges the change for what it is. Go, eat your bread with enjoyment, and drink your wine with a merry heart, for God has long ago approved of what you do. Change happens, he says. Let's enjoy ourselves while we can. The fact that the beginnings must come from endings is simply the way of the world. As we climb up the ladder, we must lift our foot off the safety of one rung to place it on the next. But how can we enjoy the prospect of moving forward, of climbing the ladder, if it is always so intertwined with the sadness of leaving one opportunity as we move on to the next? The song gives us some